players to say, yeah, okay, we're going to do this thing, or coach has lost his mind. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I think at the end of the day, regardless of what they think or say, they are starting to believe in there that they can do this thing. And that's when you become dangerous. So I think I like the situation. I don't love the situation we're in, but I like the mentality and the vibe that's going on in that clubhouse right now without the coaches being in there. That just, hey man, that's your guys' locker room. You guys are running with it and you're playing your game, and you guys are starting to run the show down there, which is kind of what I've always wanted. And to me, it's kind of fun to see.
Nick said the 10th inning homer was a bit of a muni home run, so maybe you take that with a grain of salt in terms of Schieffer's performance. How do you feel like he threw the ball tonight?
Yeah, maybe been a muni homer, but what do you say about the pop up to right that carried out of the ballpark in 10?
That's what I was talking about.
Right? Like, I mean, you know, if you're going to take that one, then you take Nick McLean's, right? Like, at the end of the day, yeah, this is the ballpark we played in all year. We get it. It's a tough place to pitch. And you get forgiveness as an offensive player at times, right? To where you hit a ball and hey, you're trotting around the bases. This is our muni, right? And we embrace it. We understand that, hey man, you're as a pitcher, you got to have a thick skin because you can make a good pitch and still have a bad result, and it's okay. You know, Schieffer, I think, threw the ball just fine tonight, and then off the bat, Ibarra, hits the pop up, and I honestly thought Mac was going to have to come in on that ball, and he's got to maybe take a step back, and then he just kept going and going and going, and next thing you know, you're down 2. I'm like, gosh, dang. We've had our fair share of our own luck, at our home, so I'm not going to complain, but that's just the ballpark we play in. And regardless of whether you love it or hate it, hey man, we're going to embrace it. And offensively, as a pitching staff, we embrace it too. And we know that, hey, if you can pitch here, you can pitch anywhere. And there's going to be times where your numbers don't reflect really how well you've done from time to time. And what it does is it builds character and it builds mindset, and it makes sure you don't make too many mistakes. Otherwise, you give up big numbers. So, and at the end of the day, we love hearing the chirping from the other dugouts when those pitchers come in here and you hear them, that should have been an out. Well, yeah, this is our muni, man. Welcome to muni, right? We get to play in this every day, so I don't want to hear about numbers and pitching stats here. Just, we're going to go compete.
He said,
do you think that this kind of served as a little bit of a microcosm of how the season's gone, where you've consistently been dealt a good amount of big blows in terms of losing a lot of games and then having a good deal of injuries that have caused you to totally rework this lineup? You think it kind of served as a microcosm tonight that you guys just continued to perform no matter the circumstance?
Well, I think that's what you try to preach, regardless of I guess, results or who's in and who's out. It's like you have what you have today is an opportunity to go perform and play your best, play the way we're capable of playing. And like I've said before, and maybe they're starting to take it to heart, is let's not worry about the results so much as just worrying about representing who you are and what we stand for. And tonight I kind of get emotional, but it was, yeah, we represented tonight pretty well. Not because we played pretty, not because we played great, but they didn't quit. They kept on grinding, they kept battling, and they broke through. And that, like I said, for me, that's pretty cool.
The last 2 weeks with these big Pac-12 series wins, how do you think the team overall is representing this program right now?
I hope people take a look at it and say, you know what? At times this season hasn't been pretty, but these boys are playing their butts off. They're playing hard. And just when you count us out, we still got a heartbeat and we're still here. And don't let the Devils get hot. We're starting to get hot.
Just to kind of remind you.
How much do you think that drives those guys in there? How much do you think they pay attention to stuff like the RPI and things that, measure postseason projections and things of that nature?
I hope they don't, because at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't, ultimately I guess it matters in the end, but what matters is how you go perform on the field. That's my job to worry about that. That's hockey's job to, fill me in on what's going on with that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, you can't control it. You go control what you can out there on the field. And I think these guys are embracing that. And hey, I've been written off before plenty of times in my career. And to me, that's, I guess, why I get a little bit emotional and proud of these guys. It's like, yeah, a lot of people wrote us off, but you're either 2 feet in or you're 2 feet out. And when we get this thing right, there's going to be a lot of people that wish they were on board the whole time and gone through the battles and the grinds that we've had to go through in there and listen to the stuff that's going on. I get it. I understand that. But the facts are, these guys live it every day, and they grind it every day, and they battle every day. Regardless of what's being said or the results, hey, they're the ones showing up every day and getting after it, regardless of what people say. And so that's what, I guess, as a head coach, makes me really proud of them, that, hey, they're not listening to it, or they are, and they're responding in a way that, as a Sun Devil fan, you should be damn proud of these guys, the way they're responding and continuing to grind. Regardless of what happens these next 9 games, they're giving everything they got, and it's been pretty fun to watch.
You talk about tonight being a little emotional. It looks like you got a little extra choked up when you talk about Nick. Why is that?
Well, he's a great kid. I care about all these guys. And I know Nick hasn't performed the way he wants to perform, as far as numbers are concerned. And I know Nick McLean knows he's a great player. We all do. And sometimes when you put that extra pressure on yourself that you got to be the guy and you're not getting it done, you get kind of frustrated. But I see how he has turned over a new leaf as far as the work ethic is concerned. And this game is sometimes, even though you can, his turn, like I said, is working harder than he's ever worked. But hasn't gotten the results. And sometimes that gets, like I said, this game will humble the heck out of you and discourage you and knock you on your butt. But he continues to grind. And like I said, talk about, knocking you down when you have a chance to walk it off right there in the 9th and you don't, and everyone's counting on you to do it, and God, we got our guy up, and you don't get it done, and you don't, and then you come back and do get it done the next time. God dang. That's pretty dang special. That's why I get emotional, because it's like, man, that's the script that you try to write, is, do you bounce back from adversity that we talk about all the time? And he did tonight. That was encompassed the whole thing tonight in that one at bat. And I know what he's going through, and I know what a good player he is, and I know that was a special moment regardless of what anybody says, and I just am really happy for him.
This being your 3rd year, how much, putting everything into perspective, have these 3 years been character building for the program to go through what you guys have gone through, staff, players, everyone?
Nothing has been easy in these 2.5, 3 years so far. Nothing has been easy, but I do know when this dam breaks and we start rolling, it's going to be awful gratifying. And when that happens, maybe it's starting to right now, I don't know. But when it happens and when this thing turns in our direction and the Sun Devils start rolling, it's going to be pretty damn cool. Just because of all this adversity that we've had to go through the first 2+ years here. I believe it. I think the players believe it. And when it happens, it's going to be fun.
I know that you talked about the tenacity tonight, and I'm sure you saw that Pat Murphy was, boisterous, his usual self over the weekend. You talked about how he kind of helped you guys fight as a team. Does this team, the way that they played the last 2 weeks, kind of remind you of some of the teams that you used to play for when you were here?
First of all, I've been loving watching the Brewers. College baseball, you can't clear the benches, but I think the Brewers may have set a record for most bench clears here in the first few weeks of the season, which does not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. Murph will keep being Murph, and his boys will follow him, just how he continues to lead, and that's pretty cool to watch all that happen. But yeah, to answer your question, this team eerily reminds me of another team that I was on, and I don't want to go down that direction just yet, but there, if you kind of take a look at the parallels of that season, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. And I kind of got some advice from Murph too on that, to where, yeah, I'm just pulling the throttle back. I can't want it so much. I just got to let them go play, and to their credit, they're responding to that. So maybe it's that type of team. Something special could happen. You never know.